Beneath our feet lies a forgotten world of culinary treasures that once graced tables of kings and peasants alike, before mysteriously vanishing from our modern plates, like botanical socks disappearing in the laundry, except actually useful. Caution. Never consume any plant without absolute certainty of identification. The last thing we need is you joining the, "Oops, that wasn't what I thought it was," support group that meets Wednesdays behind the Poison Control Center. Imagine yourself at a medieval feast in the 1400s. The table holds dishes that would perplex modern diners, including root vegetables so prized they were served to royalty, yet today most people couldn't identify them in a police lineup. Throughout history, civilizations relied on resilient roots that returned year after year with minimal human intervention. The original, set it and forget it, crops, long before infomercial rotisserie ovens made that phrase famous. Today we'll unearth over 25 remarkable root vegetables that once sustained our ancestors before falling into obscurity, victims of history's harshest food critic, industrialized agriculture. Jerusalem artichoke. Let's start with the Jerusalem artichoke, a root with perhaps the most misleading name in vegetable history. It's neither from Jerusalem nor an artichoke. It's like calling a hamster, Norwegian elephant, accurate in precisely 0 ways. This North American sunflower relative grows up to 10 feet tall in zones 3 through 9, producing knobby tubers that store energy as inulin rather than starch, making them suitable for diabetics. Unfortunately, this same inulin earned them their unfortunate nickname, fartichokes. Yes, they might lower your blood sugar, but they might also lower your social standing at dinner parties. Tiger nuts. Next, tiger nuts, which aren't nuts at all but small, wrinkled tubers so important in ancient Egypt they were found in pharaohs' tombs, presumably for snacking in the afterlife. You can take it with you, apparently applied to tubers long before American Express. These nutrient-dense tubers thrive in zones 8 to 11 and remain crucial in Spanish cuisine as the base for traditional horchata. Their sweet, coconut-like flavor made them popular traditional sweets before sugar became widely available, essentially ancient Egypt's emergency candy. Skirret. Now to Tudor England, where King Henry VIII demanded skirret at royal banquets. Given his reputation, you might wonder if skirret had aphrodisiac properties. The king's enthusiasm earned it the nickname, the sweetest, whitest and most pleasant of roots, which, coincidentally, was also how Henry described himself on his Renaissance-era dating profile. Unlike a carrot's single taproot, skirret produces clusters of finger-like roots in zones 5 through 9 that can be harvested selectively, allowing the plant to continue producing for up to 7 years, the vegetable equivalent of having your cake and eating it too. Arrowhead, duck potato. Moving to North America's wetlands, the arrowhead plant, also called duck potato, produces starchy tubers that were a crucial food source for countless indigenous tribes. Growing in zones 5 to 10 in wet areas, Native Americans would wade into shallow ponds and loosen these tubers from the mud with their feet, allowing them to float to the surface. Archaeological evidence suggests this may have been the origin of the happy dance, as harvesters discovered that enthusiastic foot movements yielded more tubers, prehistoric productivity hackers at their finest. Yukon. Now to the Andes for something special. Yukon, perhaps the sweetest root vegetable ever cultivated. Unlike most starchy roots that require cooking, Yukon is eaten fresh like fruit in zones 7 through 10. Imagine biting into what looks like a potato but tastes like a watermelon-pear hybrid. It's nature's practical joke on your taste buds. What makes Yukon truly remarkable is that its sugars pass largely unmetabolized through the digestive system. That's right, it's nature's version of diet soda, except it actually tastes good and doesn't come in a can with a questionable expiration date. Lotus root. The sacred lotus produces more than just beautiful flowers. Beneath the pond surface grow segmented roots that have been a staple in East Asian cuisine for thousands of years. Growing in zones 5 to 10, with protection in colder areas, when sliced these roots reveal a beautiful pattern of air chambers that serves a practical purpose. Their mild flavor allows them to absorb whatever seasonings they're cooked with, the culinary equivalent of a chameleon. Salsify and Scorzonera. Next, Salsify and Scorzonera, often called white and black salsify. Once known as vegetable oysters, for their remarkable flavor when cooked in zones 5 through 9, they were popular during Lent when meat was forbidden but seafood flavors were desired, essentially the medieval equivalent of those plant-based burgers that bleed. Their ability to remain in the ground through winter frosts, nature's own root cellar, made them invaluable for year-round food security. They're the only food that actually gets better when neglected in freezing conditions, unlike that mysterious container in the back of your refrigerator. Krosnay, Chinese artichoke. Perhaps the most visually striking forgotten root is krosnay. These small white tubers grow in perfect spirals in zones 5 through 9, looking more like seashells than vegetables. If Salvador Dali designed a root vegetable, it might look like this. Their disappearance came largely due to the labor involved in cleaning their intricate spirals, proving that even in food, high-maintenance beauty eventually falls out of fashion. Mashua tuberous nasturtium. Our next root comes from the Andes, the tuberous nasturtium, or mashua. These visually striking tubers in black, red, and yellow grow in zones 8 through 11. Here's where history gets fascinating. Anthropologists discovered these tubers were deliberately fed to Incan warriors to suppress libido. Historical records note that military leaders provided mashua to soldiers to make them forget their wives. It's perhaps the earliest documented case of military ration development with very specific side effects in mind. Modern science has confirmed mashua contains compounds that temporarily reduce testosterone, the only vegetable that comes with its own built-in cold shower. Hamburg parsley. Hamburg parsley represents a forgotten variant of a familiar herb. It's parsley that decided the real action was happening underground. While common parsley focuses on leaf production, Hamburg parsley developed substantial, flavorful roots in zones 5 through 9. With more vitamin C than oranges and rich mineral content, it might have been history's answer to immune-boosting superfoods, if only it had better marketing and an Instagram account. Dandelion roots. That persistent weed in your lawn has a secret. Its long taproot has been used as both food and medicine for centuries. Growing literally everywhere in zones 3 to 10, when properly roasted, dandelion roots develop a rich, slightly bitter flavor remarkably similar to coffee but without the caffeine. European and Native American herbalists valued dandelion root for its liver-supporting properties. The French name, pissenlit, literally, wet the bed, hints at another traditional use, as a natural diuretic. Ulluco. Another vibrant Andean treasure is ulluco. Producing brightly colored tubers in zones 8 to 10 that look like they belong in a jewelry box rather than a vegetable garden. Unlike potatoes, these tubers maintain their bright colors even after cooking. Ulluco has a silky texture and slightly earthy flavor with citrus notes. If vegetables could hire PR agents, ulluco would have the best in the business. Oca. From the high Andes comes oca, once as important to Incan cuisine as the potato, but now virtually unknown outside its homeland. These vibrant tubers look like something from a Dr. Seuss illustration, coming in shades of yellow, pink, red, and purple in zones 8 through 10. Imagine a potato that dressed up for Mardi Gras, that's oca. Each color offers a different flavor profile, from lemony, to sweet, to nutty. It's like having a rainbow of flavors growing underground, and its high vitamin C content provides crucial nutrition in regions where fresh fruits are scarce. Ajipa. While most legumes are grown for their pods or beans, ajipa represents a forgotten category, legumes grown for their tuberous roots. Similar to jicama but more cold tolerant, this Bolivian native produces sweet, crunchy tubers in zones 8 to 10, traditionally eaten raw. Like other legumes, ajipa enriches the soil through nitrogen fixation. It actually improves garden soil while producing food. If it had a dating profile, it would be described as self-sufficient, drought-tolerant, and comes with own nitrogen, every gardener's dream match. Ericaceae. In parts of South America, a carrot relative called Ericaceae remains a dietary staple in zones 8 through 10, though virtually unknown elsewhere. It tastes like a sophisticated blend of carrot, celery, and parsnip, as if these vegetables attended culinary school together and merged their best qualities. Camas. The story of camas brings us to the Pacific Northwest, where these lily relatives, bulbs were cultivated across zones 4 through 9. When American settlers allowed their cattle to destroy traditional camas grounds in 1847, it triggered the Cayuse War, a sobering reminder that throughout history, people have literally gone to war over now forgotten foods. Traditional preparation involved pit roasting, which converts indigestible inulin to sweet sugars, transforming a barely edible bulb into something with the flavor of baked pear with hints of molasses. Burdock root. Burdock root presents a curious paradox, largely forgotten in Western cuisine while remaining a staple in Japanese cooking as gobo, in zones 2 through 10. Those annoying burrs that stick to your clothing actually inspired the invention of Velcro. Beneath the soil grows a taproot up to 3 feet long. Harvesting it is like pulling a sword from a stone. If the sword were dirty, needed washing, and tasted good in stir-fry. Maca. From high in the Andes comes maca, one of the lost crops of the Incas, that once rivaled potato and corn in importance in zones 7 through 10. These large, tuberous roots develop a slightly sweet flavor after exposure to sunlight, unlike most roots that turn green and toxic. Rich in protein compared to most root vegetables, maca provided crucial nutrition in high-altitude regions where protein sources were limited, a living time capsule of agricultural wisdom. Maca. Despite sharing a similar pronunciation with maca, maca Lepidium minor is an entirely different Andean treasure. While the previous maca produces hefty carrot-like clusters, this maca grows small turnip-like roots rarely exceeding 3 inches in diameter. This hardy member of the Brassicaceae family thrives in zones 6 through 9, growing at breathtaking elevations of up to 14,000 feet where most plants would simply perish. These turnip-like roots come in several distinct colors: white, yellow, red, purple, and black, each traditionally associated with different properties. Modern research has confirmed many of maca's traditional uses, making it one of the few forgotten roots to successfully transition to superfood status in recent years. Japanese mountain yam, nagaimo. This East Asian staple offers perhaps the most unusual texture in the root vegetable world. When grated, it develops a slimy, viscous quality similar to okra. Growing in zones 5 through 9, this mountain yam is prized in Japanese cuisine for precisely this unique characteristic. Peculiarly, this yam produces small aerial tubers called bulbils along its vine that can be planted to grow new plants. It's like the plant saying, "Here, I've done half the work of reproduction for you already." Silverweed, cinquefoil. Before potatoes arrived in Europe, silverweed roots were a crucial starchy staple in zones 3 through 9. Its distinctive silvery leaves made it easy to identify. Scottish islanders relied so heavily on these roots that special tools were developed just for harvesting them. During the Irish potato famine, silverweed became a crucial survival food. Historical diaries from the period include entries like, "Dear Diary, potatoes all dead. Silverweed saved us. We'll never make fun of its fancy silver coat again." Earth chestnut, tuberous pea. This forgotten European delicacy produces small, chestnut-flavored tubers in zones 5 through 8, once prized by medieval peasants and nobility alike. Their naturally sweet taste made them particularly valuable before sugar was widely available, nature's candy growing underground. Medieval chronicles mention these tubers being gathered from the wild, though some monasteries cultivated them. They remain in the ground all winter to be harvested as needed, nature's own root cellar. Hopness, American groundnut. Perhaps no forgotten root tells a more American story than hopness, the American groundnut, a native plant that once saved early European colonists from starvation. This remarkable perennial vine, hardy in zones 3 through 9, produces strings of protein-rich tubers. When the Pilgrims faced food shortages, Native Americans introduced them to this staple crop. Historical accounts suggest groundnuts were part of the first Thanksgiving feast. the original Thanksgiving side dish before marshmallow-topped sweet potatoes took over. Evening primrose root. Evening primrose is better known today for its seed oil, but Native Americans prize the roots of first-year plants as food. Growing in zones 4 to 9, these biennial plants develop a parsnip-like root with a peppery, nutty flavor that sweetens when cooked. Beyond their culinary value, these roots had medicinal applications for treating bruises and healing wounds, food that heals and healing plants that nourish. Cattail roots. Those familiar brown, corn dogs, standing in wetlands across America aren't just decorative. Beneath the surface, cattails produce starchy rhizomes once crucial to Native Americans. Available in zones 3 to 10 wherever there's standing water. Native Americans called cattails the supermarket of the swamp, because every part is useful. During World War II, there were even proposals to cultivate cattails commercially as an emergency food source, nature's insurance policy growing in swamps across the country. Conclusion. The curious case of forgotten root vegetables reminds us that sometimes the most valuable things are hidden from view. Their decline wasn't due to poor flavor, but their resistance to industrialization. They simply refused to conform to modern agriculture's demand for uniformity. In today's changing climate, these resilient plants offer solutions worth reconsidering. Many thrive with minimal water, no fertilizer, and little attention, qualities increasingly valuable as we face environmental challenges. Now I'm curious, which of these forgotten root vegetables intrigues you most? In our next video, we'll explore forgotten fruit vegetables.